Lost civilizations. History tells us where civilization began, but it rarely tells us what came before. Long before modern borders, before recorded kings, before written language, entire civilizations rose, thrived, and vanished. Not slowly, not peacefully, they disappeared, leaving behind ruins, unanswered questions, and fragments of knowledge that still don't fit the story we were taught. Tonight, we explore lost civilizations, societies that should not have disappeared, and yet did. Civilization number 1. Atlantis. Beneath miles of rolling ocean, where sunlight fractures into shimmering spears, lies a city that was never meant to be forgotten. Atlantis, once a marvel of human achievement, its golden domes and marble avenues now rest in silence, draped in coral and guarded by the slow passage of time. Fish glide through broken arches where citizens once walked, and statues of forgotten gods stare endlessly into the blue abyss. What we see today is not merely ruin, it is memory preserved by the sea. At its height, Atlantis was unlike any civilization the world had ever known. Built in vast concentric circles of land and water, the city blended advanced engineering with sacred geometry. Canals flowed like veins through the empire, powering commerce, transport, and life itself. At the heart of it all stood the great palace, crowned in gold, radiating authority and divine favor. Blue energy crystals, sources of immense power, lit the city day and night. To the Atlanteans, technology and spirituality were one and the same. They believed they had mastered nature, and for a time, they were right. Standing watch over the empire were colossal sentinels, stone gods carved in the likeness of divine kings. These statues were not merely symbols. Ancient texts suggest they were believed to house protective forces, awakened in times of great danger. Eyes once lit with sacred light, tridents embedded deep into the ocean floor, they served as eternal guardians of Atlantean power. Even now, buried beneath centuries of silt, one question remains unanswered: were they ever truly dormant? After the fall, Atlantis did not vanish, it transformed. Bioluminescent life reclaimed the city, wrapping its ruins in glowing blues and purples. Jellyfish drift through palace halls like living lanterns, and coral blooms where thrones once stood. The empire became something else entirely, no longer human, yet not entirely dead. In this quiet, dreamlike state, Atlantis exists between legend and reality. A drowned echo of brilliance, suspended in eternal twilight. The end came swiftly. The sea rose without mercy. The sky cracked with lightning as earthquakes tore the city apart. Towers collapsed, bridges shattered, and entire districts vanished beneath towering waves. Citizens fled through streets that became rivers, clinging to hope as the ocean swallowed everything they knew. Some say the destruction was punishment, for arrogance, for hubris, for claiming power meant only for gods. In a single night, Atlantis was erased from the surface of the earth. And yet, not all legends end in silence. Stories speak of a queen, the last ruler of Atlantis, who stood unyielding as the waters rose. Crowned in gold, trident in hand, she embodied both command and sacrifice. Some believe she ordered the city sealed to protect its knowledge from unworthy hands. Others claim she still walks the submerged halls, bound to the ruins she loved, guarding secrets humanity was never meant to reclaim. Whether myth or memory, her presence lingers. Atlantis was more than a city. It was a warning, a reminder that greatness without humility invites destruction, and that even the most advanced civilizations can fall when they forget their limits. Somewhere beneath the waves, its ruins remain, silent, patient, waiting. Not to be rediscovered, but remembered. Civilization number 2. Göbekli Tepe. For most of human history, we believed civilization began with farming. We believed cities rose only after humanity learned to plant, harvest, and settle. And then, in the dry highlands of southeastern Anatolia, stone shattered that story. At a site now known as Göbekli Tepe, archaeologists uncovered something that should not exist, at least, not according to everything we thought we knew. Buried beneath centuries of soil lay massive T-shaped stone pillars, some weighing over 15 tons, carved with foxes, lions, serpents, and birds of prey. There were no houses, no hearths, no signs of permanent settlement. Radiocarbon dating revealed a shocking truth: these structures were erected over 11,000 years ago, before pottery, before metal, before agriculture itself. Hunter-gatherers, people we once imagined as nomadic and primitive, had somehow organized labor, engineered stone monuments, and encoded symbolic meaning into architecture on a monumental scale. Local legends speak of a first hill, a sacred place where the world was awakened. Some myths describe beings who descended from the sky to teach early humans the order of nature, the movement of animals, and the cycles of life and death. The pillars themselves are not random. They stand in circles, facing inward, as if watching, or guarding, something unseen. Many researchers believe the central pillars are not pillars at all, but stylized human figures, arms carved along their sides, hands folded at the front. Not gods, not animals, but something in between. Why build this place? One theory suggests Göbekli Tepe was the world's first temple, a ritual center that drew scattered tribes together. Another proposes it was a cosmological map, aligned with the stars, marking celestial events long forgotten. Some even argue it was a memorial to a lost age, built after a catastrophic event at the end of the last ice age, when floods and climate chaos reshaped the planet. Most unsettling of all is this: after centuries of use, the builders intentionally buried the site. Stone by stone, circle by circle, as if sealing something away. Göbekli Tepe forces a dangerous question upon modern history. What if civilization did not create belief, but belief created civilization? What if humanity once knew more than we remember? The stones do not answer us. They simply stand, silent and patient, waiting for us to catch up to a past that may not be as distant as we think. Civilization number 3. The Indus Valley. As the sun rises over the plains of South Asia, an extraordinary city awakens. Long before empires crowned kings or carved monuments to their rulers, the people of the Indus Valley built cities of order, balance, and quiet brilliance. Brick by brick, these urban centers, most famously Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, emerged along fertile floodplains. Streets run in perfect grids, homes rise in uniform blocks, and beneath the feet of its citizens flows something astonishing for the ancient world: planned infrastructure. This is not chaos. This is design. At the heart of the city lies a structure unlike any other in the ancient world: the Great Bath. Here, water is not merely a resource but a ritual. Carefully sealed bricks hold shimmering pools where citizens gather, possibly for purification ceremonies. No statues of gods loom overhead, no royal throne dominates the space. Instead, the focus is communal, suggesting a society bound by shared customs rather than absolute rulers. In silence and reflection, the water mirrors the sky above. Beyond the monumental structures, life unfolds in quieter rhythms. Artisans thread carnelian beads by hand. Women weave cotton, among the earliest cotton textiles known to humanity. Farmers carry grain through sunlit streets while children play nearby, their laughter echoing off brick walls. Cattle move calmly through the city, integrated into daily life rather than pushed to its margins. This was a civilization not defined by war, but by work. The marketplace hums with movement and exchange. Merchants display pottery, copper tools, seals, and grains. Ox carts creak under the weight of goods destined for distant lands. Trade routes stretch far beyond the city walls, connecting the Indus people with Mesopotamia and the wider ancient world. Yet, despite this commercial vitality, there is no sign of palaces or royal propaganda. Prosperity here appears shared. Small stone seals tell stories still locked in mystery. Carved animals, a unicorn bull, elephants, humped cattle, stand beneath lines of symbols belonging to the undeciphered Indus script. These seals likely marked ownership or trade, pressed into clay thousands of years ago. Despite decades of study, their language remains silent, refusing to give up its secrets. An entire civilization speaks to us, without words we can understand. Beneath the calm order of daily life runs one of the ancient world's greatest engineering achievements. Covered drains, inspection chambers, and brick-lined channels carry wastewater away from homes and streets. Every house connects to the system. Cleanliness is not a luxury, it is a standard. Even today, few cities can claim such foresight. Along the banks of the Indus River, boats glide through golden waters. Fishermen haul nets, traders load cargo, and fertile fields stretch toward the horizon. The river gives life, trade, and connection, yet it also brings floods. Over time, shifting waters and changing climate may have slowly unraveled this delicate balance. Nature, as always, has the final word. As night descends, oil lamps glow softly along brick streets. The city quiets. No records tell us why these cities were eventually abandoned. No invasion scars their walls. No mass graves mark their end. The Indus Valley civilization did not fall in fire, it faded, leaving behind questions etched in stone and silence. And so, under starlit skies, one of humanity's greatest early civilizations slips into history, orderly to the very end. Long before history learned to write itself, the Indus Valley had already mastered the art of living together. Civilization number 4. The Mayans. Deep within the emerald jungles of Mesoamerica, stone cities rose from the earth-like mountains shaped by human hands. This was the world of the Maya, a civilization not hidden by the jungle, but commanding it. Vast plazas bustled with life as traders, nobles, priests, and artisans crossed beneath towering pyramids. These cities were not merely settlements, they were sacred landscapes where politics, religion, and astronomy converged. At the heart of every Mayan city stood the Pyramid Temple. Deep stairways climbed toward the heavens, symbolizing the connection between the human world and the divine. Each stone step echoed with centuries of ritual, offerings carried upward, prayers whispered skyward. From these heights, priests spoke to gods believed to reside among the clouds and stars. When night fell, the Maya turned their gaze upward. They were among the greatest astronomers of the ancient world. From observatories carved in stone, priest astronomers tracked the movements of planets, eclipses, and constellations with astonishing precision. To the Maya, the cosmos was alive, a divine mechanism whose rhythms governed fate, agriculture, and kingship itself. Time, for the Maya, was sacred, cyclical rather than linear. Their calendars were not tools of convenience, but instruments of prophecy. Carved into stone discs and temple walls, complex glyphs recorded the past and foretold the future. Every day was infused with spiritual meaning, each moment guided by cosmic order. Power flowed through bloodlines believed to be chosen by the gods. Mayan kings were not merely rulers, they were intermediaries between worlds. Draped in jade and feathers, seated upon stone thrones, they presided over ceremonies that reinforced cosmic balance. Their authority was written into the stars and legitimized through ritual. Faith demanded sacrifice. In moments of crisis or celebration, rituals were performed atop pyramids under the night sky. Blood, the sacred essence of life, was offered to nourish the gods and ensure harmony between realms. These ceremonies, solemn and intense, reflected a belief system where survival itself depended on divine favor. Then, the cities fell quiet. One by one, great centers were abandoned. Temples crumbled. Roots broke stone. The jungle reclaimed what humanity once ruled. The reasons remain debated: drought, warfare, political collapse, but the silence left behind is undeniable. Stone monuments now stand as witnesses to a vanished age. Yet the Maya were not a passive people. Warriors, adorned in jaguar pelts and feathered armor, defended their cities and fought for prestige and captives. Conflict was ritualized, strategic, and deeply symbolic. Victory brought honor, defeat reshaped destiny. Away from temples and thrones, daily life thrived. Markets filled with cacao, maize, pottery, and woven cloth. Families worked the land, told stories, and passed down traditions through generations. This was a civilization sustained not only by kings and priests, but by farmers, traders, and craftspeople. Above all, myth shaped reality. Gods walked among humans in story and symbol. Feathered serpents descended from the heavens. Deities of rain, death, and creation shaped the fate of the world. In Mayan belief, history and myth were inseparable. The gods were never distant, only unseen. Though their cities now lie in ruin, the Maya never truly vanished. Their descendants live on. Their calendars still fascinate. Their knowledge still humbles. And in the silent stones beneath the jungle canopy, echoes of a civilization that once mastered time, stars, and belief continue to whisper their story. Civilization number 5. The Sumerians. At first light, the land between two rivers awakens. Mud-brick cities rise from fertile plains, their streets alive with merchants, farmers, and craftsmen. Canals shimmer under the sun, carrying life through the heart of Mesopotamia. This is Sumer, the world's first great civilization, where humanity took its earliest steps towards cities, laws, and recorded history. Dominating the city skyline stands the ziggurat of yore, a towering bridge between earth and sky. Here, priests ascend massive stairways bearing offerings, believing the gods watched from above. Religion is not separate from life in Sumer, it defines it. The gods rule the cosmos, and the city exists to serve them. Inside quiet chambers lit by oil lamps, scribes press reed styluses into soft clay. These wedge-shaped marks, cuneiform, become humanity's first writing system. With them, Sumerians record trade, prayers, laws, and stories. For the first time, human memory is no longer fragile, it is permanent. A king sits upon a carved stone throne, his gaze unyielding. He is more than a ruler, he is chosen by the gods themselves. Backed by soldiers and priests, Sumerian kings enforce law, command armies, and oversee vast building projects. Power here is divine, absolute, and unquestioned. Beyond the city walls, life depends on the rivers. Farmers guide oxen through wet soil, irrigation canals feeding wheat fields that stretch toward the horizon. These rivers transform desert into abundance, sustaining a growing population and allowing civilization to flourish. Without agriculture, Sumer would never have existed. But prosperity breeds conflict. City-states clash over land, water, and power. Soldiers march in disciplined formations, bronze helmets glinting through clouds of dust. Warfare becomes organized, strategic, another grim innovation of early civilization. Above it all, the gods loom, vast, radiant, and eternal. They control storms, fertility, fate, and death. Every success is their blessing, every disaster, their warning. To the Sumerians, the universe is alive with divine will, and humanity exists to obey it. Stories of gods, kings, and daily life are carved into stone reliefs. These images preserve rituals, battles, offerings, and labor, silent witnesses to a vanished world. Through art, the Sumerians seek immortality, ensuring their deeds will never be forgotten. Time, however, conquers all. Cities fall, canals dry, empires fade. The ziggurats crumble beneath endless suns, their bricks slowly returning to dust. Yet even in ruin, Sumer endures. From writing and law to cities and kingship, the legacy of Sumer still shapes our world today. Though its people vanished thousands of years ago, their ideas never did. In the silence of these ruins lies the echo of humanity's first civilization, the moment history began. Civilization number 6. Cahokia. At its height, Cahokia was the largest and most complex urban center north of Mexico. Spread across fertile floodplains near the Mississippi River, the city was home to tens of thousands of people. Carefully planned neighborhoods, vast agricultural fields, and monumental earthworks reveal a society built on organization, cooperation, and deep knowledge of the land. Dominating the city stood Monk's Mound, the largest earthen structure ever built in North America. Rising in stepped terraces, it served as the political and ceremonial heart of Cahokia. From its summit, leaders oversaw rituals, governance, and the rhythms of daily life below, symbolizing authority grounded not in stone, but in earth itself. Beyond the monumental center, life in Cahokia was vibrant and communal. Families farmed maize, crafted pottery, and produced tools from stone and bone. Children played in open spaces while elders passed down knowledge through stories and practice. This was a living city, sustained by shared labor and cultural continuity. Religion was central to Cahokian life. Ceremonies marked seasonal cycles, honored ancestors, and reinforced social bonds. Fire, music, and symbolic regalia transformed ordinary spaces into sacred ones. These rituals connected the people of Cahokia to forces they believed governed the sky, the earth, and the unseen world beyond. Cahokians were careful observers of the heavens. At sites like Woodhenge, wooden posts tracked the movement of the sun throughout the year. Solstices and equinoxes were not only astronomical events, but moments of spiritual significance, guiding agriculture, ceremony, and timekeeping with remarkable precision. Cahokia was not isolated. It stood at the center of vast trade routes spanning much of North America. Copper from the Great Lakes, shells from the Gulf Coast, and stone from distant regions flowed through its markets. This exchange of goods also spread ideas, technologies, and influence far beyond the city's borders. By the 1300s, Cahokia began to change. Environmental stress, flooding, resource depletion, and social upheaval may have contributed to its decline. Gradually, neighborhoods emptied and ceremonies ceased. The great mounds remained, but the city that built them faded into silence. Though abandoned, Cahokia was never truly lost. Its earthworks endured beneath grass and soil, waiting to be rediscovered centuries later. Today, they stand as powerful reminders that complex, advanced civilizations flourished in North America long before European contact, reshaping how history itself is understood. Civilization number 7. The Sea Peoples. Long before recorded history, beneath the world's oceans, a civilization flourished unseen. The Seas people were not born of land, but of water itself. From the abyssal depths rose vast coral cities, engineered from living stone, glowing with bioluminescent light. Their architecture blended nature and design, towering spires grown rather than built, aligned with ocean currents and celestial tides. These were not ruins yet. This was an age of balance, when sea gods were honored not as myths, but as ancestral forces woven into daily life. Power beneath the sea did not rest with a single ruler, but with many. At the heart of their civilization stood the royal council, elders, monarchs, and mystics chosen not by blood alone, but by attunement to the ocean. Within vast underwater halls, light filtered down from the surface like divine judgment. Here, decisions were made that shaped tides, migration routes, and alliances with the creatures of the deep. Floating glyphs recorded laws older than language, written in currents rather than ink. Peace, however, was never guaranteed. To protect their realm, the Seas people forged an elite warrior class. Their armor was crafted from enchanted shell and abyssal metals, etched with runes that pulsed like living veins. Tridents and sea blades were not mere weapons, they were conduits, capable of channeling storms and crushing pressure. These warriors guarded the borders between light and darkness, where the known ocean ended and the abyss began. When the sun vanished, the city truly awakened. At night, the Seas people's cities became constellations beneath the waves. Jellyfish drifted like lanterns, runestones lit the roads, and leviathans passed silently between towers like living mountains. This was not a hidden civilization, it simply existed beyond human reach. The ocean itself was their sky, their shield, and their frontier. Faith was the cornerstone of survival. At the spiritual center stood the high priestess, believed to speak directly with the ocean's will. She safeguarded ancient relics, artifacts capable of stabilizing currents, calming tectonic unrest, and maintaining the fragile harmony between the Seas people and the deep. Her rituals were not superstition, they were necessity. But even the ocean has its breaking point. Something changed. Rifts opened in the deep, older, darker regions stirred. Abyssal entities, long sealed away, rose in defiance of ancient pacts. Coral towers collapsed, statues cracked, the very runes that once glowed with life began to fade. Whether through hubris, imbalance, or forces beyond their understanding, the Seas people could not stop what came next. The Golden Age ended not with silence, but with catastrophe. Time does not erase, it buries. Millennia later, only fragments remain. Broken arches, fallen tridents, statues worn smooth by endless currents. Bioluminescent runes still glow faintly, like dying embers of memory. Occasionally, modern explorers stumble upon these ruins, mistaking them for natural formations, unaware they walk through the remains of a once vast empire. Yet not all was lost. The Seas people shared a bond with the greatest beings of the deep, the Leviathans. Legends claim that as the cities fell, some survivors merged their fate with these colossal creatures, preserving their knowledge within living vessels. When Leviathans are sighted today, massive, ancient, and strangely marked, some believe they carry more than instinct. They carry history. The Seas people did not vanish. They became the ocean. Their cities fell. Their names faded. But their influence remains, in the currents, in the deep, and in the mysteries we have yet to understand. The ocean is vast, and it remembers. Civilization number 8. The Kingdom of Kush. At the edge of the Nubian desert, where the Nile bends southward, rose one of Africa's most powerful ancient civilizations. This is the Kingdom of Kush, and before us lies its heart, Meroe. A city of temples, palaces, and processional avenues, where stone pyramids pierced the horizon and gold shimmered in the late-day sun. Here, kings ruled not in isolation, but at the center of a vibrant urban world shaped by faith, trade, and authority. Power in Kush was not reserved for kings alone. Women ruled here, commanding armies, negotiating with empires, and shaping dynasties. The Kandake, or Queen Mother, stood as both monarch and general. Clad in gold and linen, spear in hand, she embodied Kushite sovereignty. Ancient chroniclers would later record that even Rome hesitated when faced with these warrior queens of Nubia. Across the desert sands rise the pyramids of Kush, steeper, narrower, and more numerous than those of Egypt. These were not mere tombs, but symbols of continuity and divine kingship. Each pyramid marked a ruler's passage into eternity, affirming the Kushite belief that the afterlife mirrored the grandeur of life itself. Religion bound the kingdom together. Inside torch-lit temples, priests performed sacred rites amid incense smoke and carved stone gods. Kushite faith blended local traditions with influences from Egypt, honoring deities such as Amun while preserving distinct Nubian spiritual identity. These rituals reinforced the divine authority of the ruler and the cosmic order of the world. Kush grew wealthy not only through conquest, but through commerce. Caravans crossed the desert bearing gold, ivory, iron, incense, and exotic goods from the African interior. The Nile served as a commercial artery, linking Central Africa to the Mediterranean world. Kush was not isolated, it was indispensable. On his throne, the Kushite king ruled as warrior, judge, and divine intermediary. Adorned with ram horn crowns and heavy gold regalia, he projected power rooted in both military strength and sacred legitimacy. His authority was absolute, yet sustained by tradition, religion, and the loyalty of his people. Beyond palaces and temples, everyday life flourished along the riverbanks. Farmers tilled fertile soil, boats carried goods and families, and villages thrived beneath the watchful presence of distant pyramids. The Nile was more than water, it was survival, prosperity, and rhythm of life itself. At times, Kush faced its northern rival, Egypt. Battles erupted in dust and fire as Kushite infantry met Egyptian chariots on open ground. Yet Kush was no less a power. For centuries, its rulers conquered Egypt, forming the 25th dynasty and ruling as pharaohs in their own right. This was an African empire that reshaped history from the south. The kingdom of Kush endured for over 1,000 years, resilient, wealthy, and proud. Though its cities fell silent and its pyramids weathered by time, its legacy remains carved in stone and written in the story of Africa itself. A civilization not lost, but waiting to be remembered. History is written by survivors. But the past is built on what was lost. Civilizations don't always fall because they were weak. Sometimes they fall because the world changed faster than they could adapt. And sometimes they are erased because remembering them would force us to rewrite everything we think we know. These lost civilizations are not gone. They are buried, waiting. If you want to continue exploring the world's history tried to forget, subscribe to Tales of the World. Which lost civilization should we explore in full next?